That leads directly into
Our metaphorical scrotums lead directly into Metal Gear Solid 2.
Yeah. Metal Gear Solid 2. Solid Snake and Otacon have gone on to become their own organization called Philanthropy, which is an anti-Metal Gear organization.
The most generic name.
Philanthropy.
What do they do? Good things.
Good things.
Just generically good things.
There's kind of good things. They're basically like a fringe kind of terrorist organization where they blow up Metal Gears because after Shadow Moses, everybody got the blueprints for Rex and everybody's making their own Metal Gears. So fuck it, let's blow it up.
So, strictly speaking, if Metal Gears are a bad thing for world peace, then they are doing good things.
Yes.
But from the perspective of governments, which are the people that say who terrorists are, they're terrorists because they're acting against government interests.
Yeah.
I can't imagine there's actually a 2-person NGO in operation.
I know.
You need there's a critical mass. You need a certain amount of people to get this recognition, right?
Both Snake and Otacon are so good. They can do a 2-person NGO.
Wait, that's the thing with Natasha, right? Like, she writes the book.
Nastasha wrote the book about Shadow Moses, and I think some of the funds go to Philanthropy.
Yeah, you never call her on the phone. You never... Kodak her.
Nastasha's a really helpful lady, but nobody ever pays attention to her.
But she winds up funding your whole business.
Yeah, and like Mei Ling helps you too. She leaks secret military technology to you, which is why Snake has a stealth cam at the beginning of MGS2.
Do you think that was the point? Like, the point was to take the people, the support people that never got talked to in the game and give them the most out-of-game stuff?
Maybe.
Was that intentional?
I don't know if it was intentional or not, or it was just convenient.
It certainly worked out that way, intentional or not.
Yeah. Snake and Otacon are like, well, there's a new Metal Gear to sabotage. I hear us on this boat going through near like Manhattan. So Snake sneaks onto it, plans to sabotage it and blow it up.
Blow up the boat.
Yep, blow up the boat. But it turns out it's been hijacked by Russian people. Russian soldiers
on the boat.
Yeah, the Russian.
This is actually ASL for fish, not boat.
The Russian soldiers are actually led by Colonel Glukovich.
Who is Colonel Glukovich? Who is Colonel G, by the way?
Colonel G is a guy that Ocelot mentions in the first Metal Gear Solid as being a friend of his.
And this is just like an offhand mention that doesn't mean anything.
They want to partner. In MGS1, they wanted to partner with Colonel Glukovich's army to make Ocelot's dream of making Outer Heaven and Shadow Moses a reality. But he is working just as him by himself. No! Stop it!
You say that every time you see my tongue. I don't know why.
Colonel Glukovich is working with Ocelot, Revolver Ocelot, to hijack this new Metal Gear at the same time. Glukovich's daughter is Olga, who Solid Snake fights briefly.
She's super tough. She wants to be a soldier.
But she's also pregnant at the same time. Whoa, it's like a weird parallel going on by accident. Because Metal Gear Solid 2 came before the whole thing with the boss.
I mean, just because it's out of order doesn't mean it's by accident, right? Like, that's the whole story of Metal Gear. You tell the stories you want to tell, regardless of their chronological order. That's the thing. This could be a completely different podcast if we told it in release order, because it would develop on themes and motifs rather than literal plot elements. And personally speaking, this is the thing I think I've been open with. Plot is the least important thing in anything with one. That I think theme and character, and I usually say this in response to films, so cinematography, much more important than straight plot. Yeah. But we're talking about this in plot terms, so fuck it. You take what you get.
I think
you're gonna like it.
I think one of the reasons why I enjoy Metal Gear is because even if it's super ham-handed and not super well written, it at least has like thought out themes in them.
Yeah, for sure.
Like a lot of games. Watch Dogs doesn't have a fucking theme in it. Somebody thought like surveillance is bad or something, or like invading private stuff is bad.
You mentioned Watch Dogs. Look what happened.
Watch Dogs fucking sucks. What? Nobody had themes for that. There were vague themes at the beginning that one person probably had, where they probably had some kind of public thing to talk about, like public surveillance and all that, and it fucking disappeared.
Watch Dogs made me do a 360 and I don't know why.
Watch Dogs made me do an ollie and grind off a rail.
Watch Dogs made me do a 720 sailfish into a Christ Air. Like Bucky Lasik.
But Solid Snake is sneaking through the ship. It turns out that Gurlukovich and Ocelot who are planning to hijack the Ray from the Marines. Ocelot betrays everybody, surprise!
This is the first time we've mentioned the Ray, by the way.
Yeah, Metal Gear Ray is just, it's an anti-Metal Gear. It is a Metal Gear meant to combat other Metal Gears.
Mostly with water jets.
Yeah, I mean, it kind of makes sense. Like, high-pressurized water can cut through metal and stuff.
Like, yeah, a lot of factories work that, especially if you're die casting aluminum. Mm-hmm. I think that's where water jets are really in their element. Their element being water.
Mm-hmm. But Ocelot betrays everybody and claims he's taking the Ray back to the Lale Lule Low.
The Lale Lule Low.
Taking him back to the lonely goat herd. Mm-hmm. The Leo.
The Lale Lule Low.
Ocelot sinks the whole boat. Supposedly Solid Snake dies at the same time. He takes the Metal Gear Ray back to Mr. President, who is Solidus Snake.
But the public story is that international terrorist Solid Snake has sunk the boat and died.
And caused a huge huge ecological disaster where all this oil's around the shore of Manhattan.
Clearly isn't true.
Oh yeah.
Like, if you're wondering if it's true, it's not true. It's not true. Don't believe a word.
At this point, you go back to like 2 years later, playing as Snake, being commanded by Colonel Campbell.
Look, you're Snake for like 10 seconds.
Yeah.
You're Raiden.
You're Raiden.
He doesn't look like this, but he's this guy.
Yeah.
He's this part of this guy.
The head, the hair, and one eyeball. And like a bilibid spinal column, that's Raiden.
You're not playing as any of this yet. No, just forget that.
That's not Raiden.
You can't be that. You can't be
It's
that
a really
guy.
nice body, but it's not Raiden.
No, you're only this guy. You're not this guy. You don't get to see it.
Not even Metal Gear Solid 4 do you get to see that bod.
I'm really tall. I'm not that tall, but I'm taller than him.
I am much shorter than him. So you start playing as Snake, who gets changed to his codename Raiden. Who is actually a completely different man from Solid Snake.
Completely different man.
Who went under...
we've been talking about like 8 motherfucking games.
Yeah.
But this is the first time we're playing as someone other than Solid Snake. If you're playing it in release order.
Yeah.
Like Naked Snake, Big Boss, he doesn't exist
even
yet.
in chronological order, this is the first time we play as a non-Snake.
Right. It's a big departure.
It's a big departure, and it was a thing that was kept secret from everybody.
But it's important.
It's important.
So you play as this guy.
Raiden.
For the huge majority of the game.
90% of the game, you play as Raiden, who is under command. He's in Foxhound, apparently. He's infiltrating the Big Shell.
Foxhound doesn't exist, it was disbanded.
Yeah, his mission is to infiltrate the Big Shell because the President of the United States, the new president, not George Sears,
the
one from Metal Gear Solid 1,
now the Big Shell
was built on top of the oil spill from the apparent terrorist attack of Solid Snake.
But there wasn't a real oil spill.
There was no real oil spill.
It's cleaning up, like, the public story is that it's cleaning up an oil spill, but there was no oil spill. So what is it doing?
Big Shell is actually camouflage to develop a new Metal Gear underneath it in the water, underwater, and it's actually new Metal Gear called Arsenal Gear. When you're playing as Raiden, everything seems really vaguely similar to events from Metal Gear Solid 1.
There's new freak show bosses.
There's new freak show bosses.
There's a detonations expert that is fat and has roller skates.
Yeah.
There's a lady who's so lucky she can't die.
Yeah.
There's a literal vampire.
There's a man who claims he is Solid Snake, who is the leader of the thing. He's actually Solidus Snake.
Solidus Snake is a literal one-to-one clone of Big Boss.
He's the perfect clone of Big Boss.
No messing with dominant genes, no recessive genes. He's literally the most exact clone possible.
Born separately from Solid and Liquid. He is a perfect clone, and he has actually been aged faster so he could be the President of the United States, George Sears.
His presidency, completely unremarkable. It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Like, Big Boss a fucking Xerox of Big Boss was president of the United States, and it doesn't matter one goddamn bit.
No. He was put into power by the Patriots. The whole thing that was put together forever ago, a little bit after MGS3 and a little bit before Peace Walker. He was the one who instigated the Metal Gear Solid 1 events. He had Revolver Ocelot provoke Liquid into doing the whole thing.
Yeah? Are you sure?
I'm sure. I am sure. And it was to provoke them so that he could get his hands on the Metal Gear Rex technology. But when he did that, it got kind of fucked up. He attracted the attention of the Patriots, the actual organization that runs the United States and a lot of other stuff in the world.
And the world.
And because of that, he was no longer president. He had to go underground, and he went into secrecy with Revolver Ocelot. And he was trying to...
What was he trying to do?
He was trying to take the Patriots' new thing, which was Arsenal Gear, their new Metal Gear, along with the Metal Gear Rays, so that he could set off an EMP with a nuke high in the atmosphere over Manhattan, so he could take it out of the Patriots' control and turn it into like a new country, essentially, free of the Patriots' control. The entire events of Metal Gear Solid 2 was actually a thing by the Patriots, essentially, to see if they could control information and people enough to make exact events happen in sequence. Yeah. Which is why Metal Gear Solid 2 feels like it's an entirely just a rehash of Metal Gear Solid 1 in a lot of events.
The point is to put Raiden through...
a completely inexperienced individual.
Near enough the exact same circumstances that Solid Snake went through the first game.
And make these
and
same
see if
events
they could
happen.
make another Solid Snake out of the end of it.
The goal wasn't to make a new Solid Snake. It was a goal to... because the Shadow Moses incident had such specific things happen and such extreme requirements for them to happen. It was can we take something that's so extreme and make the exact same things happen just by controlling information? And it was the perfect excuse to make the same game twice, which was kind of the point.
Which is strange because in many ways, in many similarities, Metal Gear Solid takes a whole lot from Metal Gear 2 back on the MSX.
It's essentially a remake of Metal Gear 2 with a different plot.
In a game
similar gameplay and structure.
A game of telephone that reaches from Metal Gear 2, which is what, like 91 at the latest?
Something like that, yeah.
All the way to, when did Metal Gear Solid 2 come out?
2001.
Yeah. Like a 10-year game of telephone.
And it was, even through the game's promotion, like the information about the game was controlled so that nobody knew that Raiden was going to be switched. Scenes that had Raiden in it were switched with Snake. And all that,
and Snake was there. Snake was there for the entire raid portion, but disguised as someone else who under a fake name, Iroquois Pliskin,
which is a reference to the actual character Snake is based off, Snake Plissken from the Escape movies,
the John Carpenter films.
Yeah,
Escape from New York and Escape from Los Angeles.
And so, in the end of Metal Gear Solid 2, turns out
in California.
It turns out that Ocelot is an agent of the Patriots.
What? I had no idea.
Oh my god! If we're going chronologically, it's... yeah. But he was an agent of the Patriots who instigated Solidus into instigating Liquid into making the Metal Gear Solid 1 incidents happen so they could have the events of Metal Gear Solid 2 happen. Also, Ocelot he lost that arm in Metal Gear Solid 1 from Frankie Ayer cutting his arm off. He had another arm grafted on that was the arm of Liquid Snake. He got possessed by the ghost of Liquid Snake because his father was the Sorrow, who knows how to talk to ghosts. At this point, Liquid Snake takes over his body. He now knows the information of where the Patriots are. Liquid Snake plans to kill the Patriots so that he can take their place and start the whole Outer Heaven thing all over again, which Big Boss was
because
was
he's
doing.
So in love with Big Boss.
He's so in love with.
I'm just really
his
watching
father.
your bald spot that's like right here. I'm enamored.
It never gets hair there. It's really it's really irritating.
It's like you've got a scar, but you don't have a scar.
I tell people I was attacked by Wolverines, but nobody ever believes me.
So that's really MGS2, and I mean,
MGS2 in the end.
It's the craziest one. Like, we could spend the most time talking about it individually, but in the history of the series, that's really the point, right? Yeah. It's the Patriots, which is the descendants of Zero's group.
Yeah.
Testing to see if they can recreate an experiment.
Recreate making people enact the same things the exact way you want to without them knowing that you've been manipulating.
And if they have through Arsenal Gear the capability to control information,
their whole goal
on a worldwide scale.
Their whole goal is to control information on a worldwide scale, so they can control essentially human evolution, what human history is, so they filter out only what's important.
Now, well, let me ask. What does this have to do with Zero's original goal?
The original,
as dictated by the boss's dying wishes.
Her dying wishes, of course, being that the world is one whole, a single whole with no borders.
Yes.
The idea is if we can control information in people in a way that they don't even know they're being controlled, it makes it much easier to unify everybody as a single people.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, that's not nearly as far-fetched as it actually is vis-a-vis their plans in the game.
Yeah.
Like, if you zoom out to a certain level, it almost looks like it makes sense.
Yeah. I feel like if these games were originally planned, so the plot was planned chronologically the whole time in advance, it would fit better. Like if Metal Gear Solid 3 was the original game. No!
I need more buttons. I need buttons.
You have buttons!
I need buttons down
there?
I need buttons.
To unbutton them?
All the way down. I need one of my, actual button-down shirts. I have many shirts that have many buttons, but this is the only shirt.
Well, it's good to have many shirts.
With any buttons at all that I brought on this trip to your abode.
My abode.
Your abode.
You can't see it, but every square inch of this wall, of every wall in my apartment, it has Raiden posters in it.
Raiden's indecent. I'm gonna make him go away.
Oh no!
I'm gonna make Raiden go away, but he's very important.
So the end scene of Metal Gear Solid 2 is Raiden and Snake conversing and talking about...
And there he is.
Oh my god, there he is! Is talking about how to shed away the identity assigned to him by the Patriots and become his own person.
If we're counting our own LPs as canon, his identity as Suck My Dick
from Yugoslavia, born 1969. Born July 9th, 1969. In Yugoslavia.
Our canon is the best canon.
It's the correct one.
You can count on us.
And that's the end of Metal Gear Solid 2. They also get some data from Arsenal Gear, Snake and Otacon. They try to figure out who the Patriots are, and it turns out it's people who have been dead for 100 years. That's because the information isn't the real Patriots' identity. It's the identity of the philosophers who died over 100 years ago.
And you learn that the Campbell that's been working with
the Campbell is
an AI.
Is an AI designed by the Patriots.
At least some amount of the girlfriend that's been in your
Ryan's girlfriend Rosemary.
Also an AI.
Yeah.
And you get the "I need scissors 61." That's famous.
Yes.
That's a very well-known quote.
The flap jaw in purple space or whatever.
Kiri Kiri Rock.
Kiri Kiri Rock.
Etc. Yeah, that's Metal Gear Solid 2.
That brings us to the final game.
Finally, up until
the second game,
a week and a half from now.
Yeah.
From now, recording time.
Where Phantom Pain will happen.